Hello there, folks. It's good to be back. Upon my return, I thought it important to remind us all what pathetic journalism looks like. That brings me no further than Jeremy Kyle. Now, there has been a reshuffle over at Talk TV. Julia Hartley-Brewer is no longer on the breakfast show. She has moved to 1 p.m. Mike Graham remains unmoved. No, that is not a dig at his sedentary lifestyle. He merely remains in the same time slot. Ian Collins has been sacrificed. Yes, he has been shunned and will appear now at only 11 p.m. for a single hour. Jeremy Kyle and Nicola Thorp take over at the breakfast show, and Rosanna Lockwood will take Jeremy Kyle's vacant spot at 7 p.m. For anyone who cares, I certainly don't, and you probably don't either, but there we are. Nadine Dorries was invited on to Jeremy Kyle and Nicola Thorp's new breakfast show to both plug her new book called The Plot, The Political Assassination of Boris Johnson. Ugh, somebody please pass me a sick bag. And to defend her decision to yet again seemingly break the ministerial code by failing to hand the book over to national security advisors prior to its release. But this isn't really what this video is about. It's about Jeremy Kyle and his absolute determination to provide cover for both Boris Johnson and Nadine Dorries by stopping co-host Nicola Thorp dead in her tracks when she was attempting to ask some genuinely pressing questions of the disgraced former culture secretary, and instead giving us his own opinion that nobody asked for and tossing Dorries the easiest of softballs. Let's take a look. But before we do, I have paused it at this specific moment in the video because what is this? It has turned 9 a.m. by this point, by the way. So the interview was conducted at 9:09. So this could be anything that she's drinking here. This is Casa Dorries we're talking about. So some sort of cocktail, I suspect. A vodka smoothie with a bit of apple and grape, perhaps. Let's take a look.
Yes, Nadine, I've got to push you on this, though. Your book is called The Plot, The Political Assassination of Boris Johnson. Was there really a plot to remove Boris from his position as PM, or was it just simply the case that he was dealt the consequences of his own actions?
You're going to have to buy the book, I'm afraid, Nicola.
Oh, Nadine. Nadine, come on. But just on the surface level here, obviously the title there, The Political Assassination, to me, to all intents and purposes, a layperson, Boris Johnson's downfall was a long time coming. And people forget, the very final thing, the straw that broke the camel's back, was the fact that he was found to have promoted Chris Pincher, despite the fact that Chris had been investigated for sexual misconduct allegations.
Nick, I know,
and that's what ended his career as PM.
I know that, but there's a bigger issue here, and I hope the book deals with it. And I've said this about Major, and I've said it about Brown. I do not believe that the majority of people in this country think it is right that somebody could become the Prime Minister of this country unless they've gone and won a general election. Whatever you think of Boris Johnson, he won a landslide majority in 2019 and should have had 5 years. Rishi Sunak and all of his cronies did a job and got rid. Now, whether you agree with Boris Johnson or not, the British public voted for him to be our Prime Minister. That's the anger, isn't it? Isn't that right, Nadine?
Look at Nicola Thorp's face here. I think it's dawned on her after only 2 hours into this new show. Perhaps her co-host isn't all that good at his job. She really has to start biting back against him, though. She cannot allow this sort of precedent to be set, because Kyle is a truly rotten individual who will continue to prevent her from doing her job at every turn, because he is a loudmouth gobshite who has made a living behaving in precisely this way. He isn't a journalist of any note. One has to wonder what it would take for Jeremy Kyle to admit Boris Johnson is rotten. He is an acolyte to Johnson in the same way right-wing American media figures fawn over Donald Trump. But don't just take it from me that he loves Boris Johnson. Let's hear it from the horse's mouth.
I can't. As a massive Bojo fan, you know this. I can't bleed and wait to read it.
There'll be lots more dirty laundry.
I really don't understand how anybody can be a massive fan of Boris Johnson. We know that Kyle is a lying cheat. If I recall correctly, he cheated on his second wife with the nanny to his children. So perhaps his unrelenting love of Johnson stems from his admiration of that particular aspect of the former Prime Minister's character. Who knows? All I know is this was an absolutely pathetic display of supposed journalism, and Nicola Thorp has her work cut out reining in Kyle's misplaced ego. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you again soon.